It's always our lucky day when there's a new episode of Doctor Who out, isn't it, Connor?
Hello, Aiden. How are you?
I'm great. I'm actually just cringing at myself. That was a really cringy way to start this podcast.
You can have a lucky day. Don't worry.
It's our lucky day review today.
Yay!
We're back once again to talk more brand new Doctor Who and review it and have a little laugh along the way.
Good way of putting it.
Yeah, man. Keen to talk about this one. Obviously, later in the show, we'll come back to the whiteboard and see where on the whiteboard will Lucky Day land. This is my pride and joy.
Yeah, boy.
And we've changed the whiteboard a little bit, but we'll come back to that later in the show. Nice. But yeah, I guess that's enough refresh. Shall we just get into the review?
Let's get straight into it. Let's do it.
Do it. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor.
Go. 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50%. Cat.
And on TikTok at 50Doctor Who.
Nearly got in.
Yeah, nearly. Plenty of fun over on TikTok at the moment, so get around that. Yeah, she's all right.
Good way of putting it.
All right, Lucky Day, baby. Season 2, episode 4. Halfway through the season already. No. Ruby Sunday faces life back on Earth without the Doctor. But when a dangerous new threat emerges, can Ruby and Unit save her new boyfriend, Comrade, from the terrifying Shriek?
Not the Shriek.
Not the Shrek.
Not the Shrek
God
again.
Damn.
They're back.
I watched this one pretty late last night.
Okay.
And...
How late are we talking?
It was like 10:30 or something like that. But for me to watch it for the first time at that time, that's not usually what I'm going for. Mm-hmm. And it was like a weird one because I was in a shit mood when I put it on to the point where I was like, I don't know if I should watch Doctor Who right now. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to harm my thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, okay.
And I finished watching it and was like, I feel amazing. I transcended. I flew into the sky. I was doing backflips around the house. Yes. I was like, I found life again.
Thank
this
God.
This is amazing.
Fuck yes.
And just had so much fun from start to finish in this. I actually can't remember the last time I had this with Doctor Who, where I was literally like,
let's go.
I don't want this to end. I was in clearly the last act and I was like, just keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. You've made me feel so good, Pete.
I love that.
So I assume you feel the same way?
I mean, what a mystery of what I feel. No one sees me on Twitter. Yeah, dude, I owe Peter an apology. Yay. I loved this. From start to finish, I really just had such a great time. Yeah. It's super unique. Yeah. I think they do some really interesting stuff. The twist, I love the twist.
Oh, dude, it punched me in the face.
I love it.
Do you know what annoyed me about the twist in a good way?
Go on.
Is the whole way through... I was like, this episode is it's really good. And the chemistry between Ruby and Comrade is passable. But I was like, I don't think it's perfect chemistry. I don't fully believe the love. It was on purpose,
baby.
And then this twist happens and I was like, I thought I was smarter than the show for a second. But no.
Yeah.
They fucking got me, mate.
Yeah, I agree. So I'd just through rumbles on Twitter a year ago, had heard that Comrade was a little bit sneaky. But to be honest, I was expecting that to maybe come out in the final. It's something I held back saying the other day on the predictions pod because it's just better not to know that kind of thing.
Well, I could tell you were being sus about something, so I cut where you were being sus out of the pod, actually. Just so we didn't...
Even I didn't do a good enough job of hiding their corns to Aiden's editing. But, this still... And that could have been... And that still could have been a bit of false knowledge, But to happen... this quickly and also the way that it happened, it reminds me because it's when now watching the episode, I was like, oh yeah, there were a ton of scenes they were filming with people protesting Unit and stuff. But again, I never really put one and two together, and I didn't think it would be as prominent as it is in the episode. And apart from a few things here and there, damn, did I have a good time with this episode. And it gives me so much confidence for War Between Land and the Sea, which is I'm super excited for now.
I agree.
If they go for this vibe, oh, baby, I'm ready.
So I rewatched it this morning because I watched it the first time and you're always hesitant the first time you watch an episode like that where it's not necessarily... you watch a midnight or something like that and it's clearly a goated episode, 73 yards, where you can tell they've taken these big swings and stuff. And this, I don't think is quite that.
Sure.
But...
definitely, yeah.
You are is this, was that really good?
Yeah.
Or was it just me? Do you know what I mean? And so I rewatched it this morning. I was like, nah, that was really good. And my biggest emotion after finishing watching it was I'm so excited for War Between the Land and the Sea. Seeing Pete back to write a bunch of the episodes, and then also just how much of a good job they're doing at developing this unit gang. I genuinely, when Ibram, is it Sergeant Ibram? Is that his name?
Yeah.
When he brought the coffee down to Kate, I cheered.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah.
They kind of did hint to it at the end of Empire of Death. Didn't you? You literally said, like, on the predictions pod, you're like, oh, maybe they're together, they'll follow that thread. And it's like, damn, yeah, they did.
They smashing. They smashing, baby.
Oh, baby.
And then, of course, the other time I cheered as well was Trinity Wells rocking up.
Dude, same. I was just like, yes, she's back, the GOAT. Oh, that was such a great surprise.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Loved it.
It's great. Anyway, shall we walk through the episode?
Let's do it. Let's walk through it, baby.
So as we predicted, we open up in 2007.
Yeah.
This was a scene that was in the trailer that Connor was like, no, that'll be in the finale. And I said, no, it's going to be in episode 4, I think.
Yes.
So Connor's going to have to wear a goatee. I think you're doing it in the finale now.
So
you
it
said.
was supposed to be today, but people practically begged me on the live stream to leave it and grow it out more. So I was like, okay, your wish is my command. I just come here to serve.
Yeah, there you go.
So
dance, monkey, dance.
They practically begged me to keep it. So
yeah, so that's part of a bet for Connor.
But I will do it. Don't worry, it is coming. I just need to grow out my my facial hair just a little bit more, I think.
I rate it. Yeah. But yeah, basically everything we predicted to an extent about this opening scene is exactly what happened. So the doctor, they run into young Conrad Clark with Belinda whilst they're vindicating, and the doctor whips out a coin and says, "It's your lucky day."
50p.
Yes. One thing I didn't expect though was the thread of Conrad's mother, and like she smacks him.
Yeah.
And I think stuff like that, when you rewatch the episode, have you rewatched it?
Yes.
Yeah. When you rewatch it, you sort of piece together the villain arc like earlier on. It's like really cleverly written.
Right. So did you take from that? I took from it that started his being manipulated to not believe what he saw.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. All right. So, and I fuck with that.
Yeah, it's so clever.
This is, it's funny. It was definitely less Dr. Light than I thought, even though it is Dr. Light. But it's more like Belinda Light. She's in it for like a minute.
Yeah, and in that minute has like 2 lines.
It has like 2 lines. Yeah. But I still really like this opening. I think it's great.
Yeah, really
the fireworks and stuff.
Yeah, it looks nice as well.
My boy Peter Hoare. Now, this is what I'm fucking talking about, baby. Give me this over the Robot Revolution any day of the week. This is like, I loved what he did in this episode.
Yeah, we watched Robot Revolution and we're like, why is Peter Hoare directing this? Like Peter Hoare is an amazing TV director and he's directing a bit of a weird episode, didn't really do much with it. And then like you watch this and you're like, no, this is the episode that he was brought in for, because this... It's very him. It's very that The Last of Us episode. It's very It's a Sin. Very human.
Absolutely.
And I adore what he did direction wise with this.
Even the opening shot, it starts with the London Eye with the fireworks going off, and then it just pans to the alleyway and it doesn't cut. And I'm like,
beautiful.
Come on, and the light in this episode, the cinematography, the lighting.
Yeah.
Oh, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
They've got a really good track record of a Ruby-centered episode 4 with the best cinematography Doctor Who's ever had. Because I still think 73 Yards is the best looking episode Doctor Who ever.
I agree, yep.
I think it's really helped by location filming and stuff. But,
absolutely, yeah.
And that again is another thing to get us excited about War Between Land and the Sea, is that Dylan Home Williams, who directed 73 Yards, directs all 5 episodes, I think. All 5, yeah. Which is just, this has got me hyped for that. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyways, so cut ahead. Comrade's got a podcast. Oh, and Ruby Sunday's on it. My name's like us. Ruby Sunday.
Yeah.
And I travelled with the doctor.
I was in the blue box itself.
There we go.
It kind of started with a bit of a Linda vibe.
Yeah,
100%. Linda but evil.
I was sort of like, we just doing Linda again? Is that what we're doing?
But that's what makes this episode so great, is it like, it did almost make me believe for a second that the episode's going to be a lot more simpler than it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, the episode might just be Ruby and her new boyfriend defeating the monster of the week.
Yeah. Love and Monsters 2.
Love and Monsters 2.
Yeah.
But boy, was I wrong. And glad to be wrong.
Title sequence, mate. Yeah. You know how much I frothed seeing 3 names on there? There's just something about when they shake up the title sequence.
Yeah.
Like all they did was add another name, but I was like, we got 3 names.
This bad mood was just slowly disappearing every second this episode passed.
I'm easy to please. All you have to do is like change a font or something in the title sequence, and I'm like, go episode.
Let's go.
And then it follows a similar structure as we thought. But the biggest thing we were wrong about: no Autons.
No Autons.
We saw them promo pics. We saw that anti-plastic looking device. We saw green goo. We said Autons definitely. not Autons, but, and you can always tell I've enjoyed Doctor Who if I go and watch Unleashed straight after. Otherwise, I don't watch Unleashed because I'm just in a salty mood.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was like a bit of a homage because Peter Hoare, big Doctor Who fan. I think he might have said they filmed in the same building as Hendrix
I'm pretty
from
sure
Rose.
they did. Yeah,
I think
I
that's
think
what they said.
you're right. Yeah.
So he was, I want to do Autons as like a homage.
Nice.
And also they look kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why you have the mannequins in there as a homage to Rose.
Yeah, I think I can also tell that I'm actually just enjoying an episode when, like, you know, something that I did predict that I kind of wished was happening isn't happening, but I'm not mad.
It's the Wobbly Yonder effect.
The Wobbly Yonder effect, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it's like, but the episode is good enough to stand on its own, and that and it's not bothering me.
Yep.
That it wasn't the Autons, you know. I was hot. I was watching those fuckers getting ready to see just one of them move.
I very quickly was like, this is not Autons.
It's the Autons. My goodness.
Good to see the Doctor and Ruby back together, though. They, their chemistry, it's just so different to what we've got at the moment.
It is,
and
yeah.
I love how different these two
like
dynamics
that. Yeah,
are.
absolutely. You do tell the difference in chemistry, and it's straight after the Devil's Chord, which
yeah,
is so funny.
Yeah. 30 minutes ago, we're hanging out with the Beatles. Miss those guys.
Yeah, John Lennon knows me a piano lesson. Yeah, fantastic.
Ross will be like, Big Finish, I'm plugging all the holes so you cannot juice this as much as possible.
It's funny. This is the second time they brought up me and the Beatles in series 2 thus far. So you know, they love to talk about that.
I did think it would have been a little nicer to put it before the Devil's Chord, just because then we're filling in that 6-month gap a little bit.
I thought the same thing.
But that's just me being a loser.
There is that gap, you know. So, but still,
yeah, still. Yeah, so Comrade's like taking sticky pictures. Have you seen this girl? Very Love and Monsters coded this right now.
It was also the alleyway they shot the Empty Child opening scene in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, that was really cool to see as well. Damn. From my favorite episode of all time. So
Goat episodes.
Yeah.
We we cut back to the present once again. Like, just interesting writing, the way they're sort of playing with time as they're telling the story and the structure and things. So we then come back to the present. And Ruby's all like, I was chatting with Doctor, can't really say much, but, you know, good vibes, unit's good, don't worry about it.
I like as well, so on rewatch, I realised that she didn't just come on the podcast to just guest appear, she wanted to give him the antidote for the shriek.
Yeah.
So there was like an actual motive behind.
Yeah.
And also after rewatching it, there is like subtleties to Conrad's true motives with Unit and stuff, and you know, he says like, I did reach out to try and get them on the podcast and it's like, oh, it's not you, they're just busy.
Yeah.
As a podcaster, I'm like, I've heard that quite a lot, so you know,
starts Connor's villain arc.
Yeah, starts my villain arc. You know, it's my lucky day.
Yeah.
But I like that. That's why she came. Like, she was actually like working with Unit and stuff, and needed to give him the antidote and stuff, so, like she took previously.
One question I had after the episode was, so Conrad's podcast. So is his podcast like the think tank podcast? Like, is it like evil, or was it all part of a big scheme? Because surely Ruby would have done her due diligence. I don't know, maybe not. She's young, but I'm curious because it's a pretty big scheme. If he has started a whole podcast that had people listening to it, we saw the people listening to it, which was a great sequence. I like that.
Yeah, no, I think there is one or two things in the episode that like a little bit like unbelievable and stuff, but I do think he was. It was all just a big ruse, and it wasn't. It was pretending to do the show and have a personality, but secretly in the background there was this like movement getting ready to uproll and stuff. I think that's at least what I took from it, that he was just doing it as a bit of a cover up,
because he already had like 80,000 subscribers. They said, I think.
Yeah, but that could have just maybe have been the movement or something like that. Again, there's things like that that's a little bit, I guess, like unbelievable. But
I need to know his bank account. Like, so he's getting paid for his 80,000 subscribers for his own personal think tank movement.
Yeah,
I think. But then he's got the other revenue stream, which is his good podcast account, where he's trying to be nice and as part of his ruse to get Ruby.
Yeah,
I don't know, mate. This is
I
the big problems here.
I'm like a member of like H3, so I pay like $5 a month. It's something simple as that. Like, people pay like $5 a month, and it adds up.
Yeah, but I'm just like, surely the guys that were supporting the bad podcast, the good podcast, were like, oh, hold on a minute, this guy's got a bad side.
Yeah,
I need to know. I need the target book to explain this to me.
Yeah, so that and one thing later, I think just stood out a little bit as like maybe unbelievable, but these are just little nitpicks. I have.
100%.
Like, what do you always say is like, I know when I'm really loving the episode where it's just little things that kind of that. And by the way, I can switch my brain off for that part. I'm like, 100%. But yeah, I did think that as well.
Yeah. Anyways, Comrade, he's a little bit awkward. He's knocking over coffees whilst they're trying to do a podcast. Oopsie, silly me.
Oops.
And then he's like, you want to go on a date? You want to go get coffee? And she's like, okay, yeah.
Sure, why not?
Dropping shit all over the floor. Go for a coffee in what is an excellent sequence. Once again, Peter Horde just...
Here we go, babe. Yeah, it's
doing God's work.
Good, so good.
So Ruby's like describing what happens when the street come and attack you, and they have this amazing little one shot where all the lighting shifts and they pan around the outside. You see the streak, and it's really spooky the way it moves behind like the wall. And then it comes back around to Conrad. You can see it lurking behind. I love the motif that started earlier in the episode of just the heartbeat. You just hear the...
Yeah, love it.
And then you come back to daytime, and it's just so great.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that coffee shop scene is really well, like, it's just really well done. It works. The lighting is fantastic, like we were saying before. Just, yeah, really, really digging.
Just love it.
Yeah.
Love what Pete's doing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the two Petes.
The two Petes. Yeah. The Peteception. Because I don't think we even said at the top of the show, this is written by Pete McTighe, who's obviously written for Doctor Who before in the Chibnall era. He wrote Kablam and Praxeus. So cool to see him come back under a different showrunner and see what he does.
Absolutely.
And it bloody was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did all the collections,
the trailers.
mini trailers. Yeah.
So then they go out on their fifth day. Or no, they're going out on a proper date. They're going out for a meal.
Right.
I love when we use a little bit of pop music in Doctor Who in the background. It's great. I love seeing Carla and Cherry again. And they're like excited. And they're like scrolling through his Instagram. And so go shirt off if you scroll down a bit.
It's good vibes, you know. It's like, you know, we've already had all the setup last season. So it's like, it's just good to be able to just like jump into it and be there in the family again and know everyone's backstory and stuff.
Felt really nice to be back with them all.
It did, you know. Nice. It did feel homely, you know.
Yeah.
And their scenes were like, they were short, but I did really enjoy what they did there, you know. It didn't like overstay its welcome too much, I don't think. Yeah. And we have this moment of, so when they go out for dinner, Peter decides to do these like down the barrel shots where you're looking at the camera. And at first I was like, oh, they're trying to be intimate. But then I was still like, once again on my first viewing, also like, oh, it just feels slightly off to me. Like, why don't I believe this relationship? Yeah. And it's like one of those things where he's maintaining eye contact a bit too much down the barrel. And like you trust when Ruby's doing it, but when he's doing it, I'm like, I just don't trust this guy. Yeah. Which obviously, again, comes back later in the episode when Ruby's like, I didn't trust him. Sorry, when Kate's like, I didn't trust him. And I just thought the way that Pete decided to do that as a bit of direction was just awesome. Yeah, it's funny because I have watched Doctor Who multiple times before where like they try to... You've watched Doctor Who multiple times before? When they try to convince me on a relationship that I don't believe in. But yes, I have watched Doctor Who multiple times before. So I was like, oh, this might just be another one of those times where they're trying to sell me on a relationship that I just don't believe. But no. It was all part of the plan from the beginning. Crazy good. Fantastic. And then more dates happen. And we have again another great scene with Carla and Cherry and now Louise or Louisa. Yes. I think Ruby's actual mother. Biological mother, yeah. Which again, I kind of want to see more of her because I feel like we haven't developed her enough. Yeah, I'm not saying that's a problem with this episode, just in general, maybe it would be a good thing to see. But it was cool to see the three of them sort of hanging out and being like a trio of mums. Yes, yeah, exactly. Just fun. Well, Conrad also did mention that his mum had died. Yeah, liar. So, that's a fib. That which is a big fib. Yeah, Fibber McGee. Yeah. So then they go off on this village where they're hanging out with Conrad's friends into a pub. We love when Doctor Who goes to a pub. Yeah. In episode 4's that Dr. Light. Yeah. And a bit scary. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's great. Like you sort of buy into it enough while still not 100% trusting Conrad. Which is just great. Like you believe all the friends. They're setting up the electrician guy. They set up his hat. Sparky, yeah. Sparky's electrician. Sparky, let's go. I love like the little light things and with the flickering lights. And Ruby calls Kate and she's like, hold on a minute. I think I might have
bit of PTSD.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that like we're giving Ruby more depth. That's something we haven't seen with a companion before, with this whole idea of like having PTSD from traveling in the TARDIS. Like, obviously, realistically, seeing all this shit going from normal life to that would have like implications on your mental health. And I love that they did something like that. I think it really does add to Ruby's character. We are slowly building more to like her structure and stuff as a character.
And when she opens up to Comrade about it as well, it's a really sweet little moment.
All for nothing.
And it did make me laugh. It's like when the Doctor says in Legend of Ruby Sunday when he's like, "Have you had dreams about being an ambulance?"
Yes.
There's a line from Ruby where she's like,
the double bass.
Yeah, she's like, I was hanging over London. I was fighting goblins. I was eaten by a double bass.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, that's only a line that could be in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
The fighting gods thing as well. Like, I'm not fucking with this gods thing, but Series 2's definitely done a lot of a better job at selling it to me. If they had done that if they had done it this way in Series 1 with the whole gods thing, I think I definitely would have been a bit more on board with it,
Yeah. I like how when she's talking to Kate, they're all confused and they're like, "Oh no, there's no time residue or whatever." There
can't really be a shriek there because we're not getting any. And
I like how even later on when they're confused, when there is shriek there, they're like, "Doesn't make sense. Why is there no shriek there?" I just love that. I don't know. It just worked really well for the reveal for me.
Yeah, there's also a really good line where Kate says, "It sounds like you're struggling to switch off, and I've been there." Just again adding little things to these characters. I love stuff like that, and I really appreciate when stuff like that's in episodes. And this particular episode gave us lots of moments like that.
100%.
Adds more to Kate's character, who we've known for like 10 plus years.
And we just keep getting more and more. She just keeps getting better, and so does Gemma. Like, I just feel like her performance keeps getting better and better and better every episode.
I agree, man. It's so. I love that they're doing like they did with the Brigadier. Like, I think it's great. The fact that we see her with multiple doctors and companions and stuff. It's awesome. And for the lore of the show,
good shit.
I really love it.
Good shit. Anyways, eventually the shriek actually begin to rear their head in what is a great spooky sequence of them. Again, like just see shadows of them moving, little glimpses in the dark, things like that. Everyone starts to freak out. Old lady with a dog's like, "Fuck!"
Biscuit got terrified.
There's the bloke that's like, "Oh, who put you in charge?" He's like, "All right, big man, just you go out there, see what happens."
So the whole pub was in on it, right?
No, I just think her friend group was.
So they were fucking with the electrics and stuff.
Yeah.
That is illegal.
Yeah, dog shit.
Right.
People doing that. And Ruby's like, "I got to face them for myself. Comrade, you stay inside. You fucked it up," because he didn't take his the antidote. So Ruby's out on her own, gets a bit spooked. Comrade rocks up.
We're a team, like you and the Doctor.
Yeah, and again, I was like, oh, it's kind of cringe how much, like, the things he's saying. Like, I don't believe it. It's really cringy, but it's all part of it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because he's like, "I didn't take the antidote because I wanted to be strong like the Doctor."
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe dump his ass. I don't know if this guy
sounds a bit crazy.
Yeah, and I love that I was just proven wrong with the whole motive. But yeah, it's like, I wanted to be strong like the Doctor. I was like, this guy's kind of cringe.
Great twist.
He's got no riz.
No riz.
Yeah.
And eventually, the shriek starts to scream and they're coming for them. And then Unit rocks up. And I hate what I'm about to say. I hate that I instantly was like, "Oh, here we go. Reuse score from the giggle."
It's the giggle score, but I love it. I love that they did that.
I love it. But
it's a new Unit theme.
Yeah, but it's also the Shepherd's Boy.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah. It's like a rendition. Yeah.
But anyway, who gives a fuck? And the helicopter comes down.
I did notice that as well. I was like, I'm such a nerd. I was like, it was from the giggle.
I'm a loser.
Yeah.
I'm a loser. The helicopter comes down. The gang rolls up. Great to see Shirley back as well. We didn't say. And they're all like storming through. This is sick. They're having a scrap with the shriek. And then all of a sudden...
They're not shriek.
They're not shriek. They stand up. They take off their masks. And holy shit.
How do we do, boss?
And then it goes in on his face. And I'm like, they're not going to do it, are they? Yeah. They're not going to do it to my Ruby. Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it.
Fuck!
this is the part in the episode where it flipped for me, where I was like, I am here for this.
Yeah. Well, because my initial thing when they took off the masks, I was like, oh, I was really enjoying the shriek. I was like, these guys, this is a spooky villain. I rated it.
They come back.
And then they when they took off the mask, and then when it turned to Conrad, within 3 seconds that convinced me otherwise, and I was like, oh no, I like where this is going.
I guess to me for a brief second, I was like, oh, is it just like a goof from his friends, and then they're gonna be like, that's not funny, and they go back in the pub and it's back to normal again. So for a second there, I was like, are they gonna go for that? And I didn't like that idea, but then they fully committed to this.
Yeah.
Arc anti-unit.
I am
anti-unit. Yeah.
So Comrade undoes his jacket and he's got a think tank shirt on, which is like his movement. But do you recognize Think Tank, mate?
Shark Tank?
Well, no. The company that created, I think it's Bracewell's robot in Robot, Tom Baker's first story, is called Think Tank.
No shit.
Is this connection or is it a coincidence?
Cool.
Russell's told us don't take coincidences. So I believe they're called Think Tank. I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
So is there a connection there?
I love that. The
Who
Think
knows?
Tank movement.
Maybe in the finale. I don't know. We'll see. But is Bracewell's robot going to be in the finale?
Maybe. I think in the synopsis for the final episode, it's like Linda's been taken by robots. So it's like robots again.
No, I think that was saying her journey so far. You know, she's like, I've thought the gods of Ragnarok have been taken by robots.
I was in a cello.
Yeah.
A double bass.
Eaten by a double bass.
Belinda's been in a double bass.
So yeah, it comes out, they got this movement, they're all filming, and it's just getting a bit spicy, isn't it?
I actually really, I think when you do stuff like this, it can breach into cringe territory pretty quickly. But I gotta say, I have a cringe dar.
My cringe dar is always swinging hard.
And it can always, it's very easy to swing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to be honest, and Pete, I think in the past has handled some situations in some interesting ways, right and wise. Kablam, for example. But boy, oh boy, do I think he learned from his mistakes. Because I love it. There's even such a fantastic line when they point the camera to Shirley and he's like, reaping benefits from lies.
Yeah, so mean.
It's like, I'm just like, shit.
Yeah.
They're really going there with this.
Yeah.
It's such a unique story.
I can't remember Conrad's exact line, but we've got, for me, the next best line ever since your dad was an idiot.
Right.
We got the next best, just petty equivalent of a line where he goes up to Ruby Sunday. And he's like, is your name even Ruby Sunday?
Ridiculous name.
Yeah, and just the way he said it, I think he's like, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just the way he says it is just so the master. Your dad was an idiot.
Maybe Conrad is the master deep down. Who knows?
Maybe. But I loved it. I thought it was, the moment he like took the shackles off and became the bad guy, I instantly was like, I love this performance. I love what he's doing here. It's great.
I agree. It's super unique and I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, this would happen in real life if there was someone like Unit, you know?
Yeah.
This would happen.
I felt really bad as well. The moment they all like separate or whatever and the last shot just like dollies in on Ruby and it's just got her little theme. It's like, dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh, Rubes.
I have to listen to your piano.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I have to listen to your songs and the piano and listen to your stories about fake goblins. Yeah.
And it's like she'd finally found someone to talk to about that stuff that didn't think she was crazy. And she obviously needed that with the trauma that she has.
After opening up about PTSD, this is what you do?
Yeah.
How dare you, sir?
Dog.
How dare you?
Absolute dog. Flog.
Who would treat a queen like Ruby Sunday like that, huh?
And but it's the same thing. Like, it really hurts in Wild Blue Yonder when the doctor thinks that Donna has seen into him and that she knows about the flux and the timeless child and then when it turns out to not be true and Donna doesn't know that stuff and he has that angry like beating of the wall, it's that same emotion. And like when they finish on that shot of Ruby, I was like, damn, that's so sad.
I love Ruby Light episodes.
Ruby Scented episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Dr. Lite.
This ain't Ruby Light, baby.
The Ruby Scented episodes just have so much character for
Dr.
Ruby.
Light, should I say.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so we have like a wave of influencers going like, fuck unit.
Hey, good on this guy, you know? He's calling them out.
Yeah. So brave.
Yeah.
Hashtag brave.
Hashtag brave, hashtag defund unit.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff again worked for me. It could have borderline cringe, and it didn't.
But it worked
for me,
well.
at least. I'm sure people are like, "This isn't how social media works," but I liked it.
Yeah,
the free influencers.
Yeah, that we saw
listed on the casting.
Yeah,
thank God.
Great. And then we sort of go to Unit Tower at night time, which is nice to see it not just in the bright daylight that we always seem to see it in.
It's Unit
and
at night.
That shot, just establishing shot of the Unit Tower at night, and it's all the floors are lit up and stuff. Just looked beautiful.
Oh, I love the dark. It gave me like Torchwood vibes, where they're investigating aliens. At night.
Yeah, because we didn't say, but you earlier on in the episode you saw Kate walking through the corridors, and it's got the streak in one of the cages,
making sure it's still there. So it couldn't be in where Ruby is.
Yeah. So spooky vibes at Unit. It's dark. They're like, what's going on? What are we going to do about this thing? And all of a sudden, Conrad starts to infiltrate Unit. And again, what a rewatch shows you is the guy that helps him get in. He was listening to his podcast at the start, and he's been there the whole time. It's a great little twist.
Yeah,
he helps him in, stealing guns and shit. Just being a bad guy.
Well, he shot someone, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's doing a live stream thing. So there's all sorts of political layers to this that I really liked. And and so he makes his way up to the top floor of Unit, and it's like you see these acts of, terrorism in a way when someone enters these spaces with a gun, and a lot of the time can go a lot worse than it panned out in the Unit Tower.
Don't you dare point a gun at her.
Yeah. Oh, Kate. Chef's kiss from Gemma there. And Kate's like going hard. Like she's like, this is fucked up. Don't tear apart like me and my father's legacy. Is like, your dad was an idiot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. And she's like, no, he wasn't. You are.
Well,
you're half the man.
Yeah, that line is great. I do love that. Like, I do love seeing the consequences of when the doctor isn't there. And she says that I'm glad the doctor isn't here right now because he would stop me. And I really do appreciate people are like scared about what Kate's about to do. And Kate kind of goes a bit rogue this episode. She does rogue. Her own thing.
She goes season 1, episode 6.
Oh yeah. Going rogue, baby. It actually, I love what they did with her and her decision to show Conrad the actual shriek and stuff and kind of disobey something that the doctor would do.
Yeah.
And I love that, even to the extent where like the crew is like,
this is bad.
What's going on, Kate? Like, let's watch it here for a second because something could go wrong very quickly.
Yeah.
All for it.
Yeah, so she pulls the shriek out of the cage. And it's so intimidating when she's like, it's gonna come, it's gonna eat you, and the door slowly opens, the hand creeps out.
I can smell the blood in your veins. Yeah.
And because the whole time the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, it's a bit like this shriek could just charge out and murder him. Like, and she's lucky that it took its time, and like even at the end when it's coming right up slowly, I'm like, it took its time. But then you rewatch, it's like, oh no, these monsters like feed off of adrenaline and stuff. So she knows that and knows that they actually have the time to play with it a little bit. So the shrieks come in. He's still like, good prosthetics, mate.
Yeah.
Gets right in his face. Ruby gets the taser. Now the one minor flaw, I guess, with this episode for me is that I do think because Kate is so good in that last act, for a Ruby-centered episode, she kind of does fall in the background a little bit just in the climax. And it would have been nice to have maybe shared the screen with Kate. But, I mean, I've always loved Kate, but never in a million years did I think that she would steal the show.
Yeah.
And she really fucking did, and I'm so grateful for it. But yeah, do you see what I mean? Like,
she is playing like, I mean, she is just the victim, I think.
Yeah.
And has that arc through the episode.
Yeah.
You know.
But Ruby does get the final taser on the shriek, which is great.
At least your effects are getting better. That's such a great
yeah.
Oh fuck. Such a great meta line. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he comes and bites his arm, cut to black.
Violent. I like that.
Yeah, just an intense little scene there at the end. It didn't play out at all in the way that I thought it was going to play out.
Same.
So,
That's what made it so great, is that it really didn't play out the way I thought.
Excellent stuff.
This is not going to go the way you think.
What's that from? What
Last
episode?
Jedi.
Oh, it's from Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Aiden's favourite Star Wars film.
So then we're back in daytime on the tower, and it's all a bit like last night was a bit crazy, wasn't it? When Ibrahim is like just updating Kate on everyone, and then he's like, by the way, I love his little face scratch as well, where it's like a nice little performance thing where he's like, I don't want anyone to see his conversation.
Yeah, so who was he referring to? It's like so-and-so wants to want to hear about this.
Oh, Geneva. And Geneva is like what unit report to.
Right. Was that from the classic era?
Yeah, it's just always like,
oh, cool.
The brig was always like, we're going to go to Geneva or something. And Kate always references it as well. It's been.
Right. So it's like almost like Parliament or something like that.
I don't know the full law, but there's something about Geneva going on.
It really does there is just so many little things like that I just really love.
Yeah. There's just a great line where it was like, it went too far last night.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love the layers because obviously now they're in some form of relationship, whether or not they're just smashing or whether or not there's a deeper relationship there. And the fact that she like brushes him off is a bit like, oh, are we going to come back to this? Are we going to have some unit drama?
Well, I love that dark unit vibe. I've been wanting to see something like that for ages.
Yeah, they always should be slightly morally vague.
Yeah,
not necessarily Team Doctor, and I think sometimes in this newer era, they have come off quite Team Doctor.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you like that. They're still running around with guns and stuff like that. Like they need to have that morally, just a little bit rough around the edges kind of thing.
Sure. I mean, and what this episode proves is that the Doctor isn't always there and they have to take matters into their own hands.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Ruby is, we have that great shot of her looking out over London.
Fantastic shot.
Getting a nice little breath of fresh air.
Again, the light in this episode, I just love it.
Perfect.
So good. Perfect. That like glow of the morning sun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Kate's like, Ruby says she needs to go off and find herself, do that kind of thing. And Kate says, yeah, and when you come back and you want to talk, I'll be here. I thought she was going to try and recruit her again. And I was like, Kate, you got enough kids. Yeah. Enough kids working for you.
So does that mean in the final, Ruby will be, that's if she's in it, which I'm sure she is. Do you think she'll be like off the grid, living in like Cardiff, Wales, in like a country town?
Maybe.
Is that what she meant, or she was just?
She might be going on Euro Summer.
She's in Ibiza.
Ibiza, yeah, yeah. If she's not in the finale, we know where she is.
Right,
Ibiza.
Oh, so do you think that was just referring to her like quitting unit for a little bit to take some time to look after herself?
I don't think she was working for unit. Was she?
Well, she did go to get the antidote to Conrad.
Yeah, true. So maybe she is. I don't know. They kind of didn't really touch on it, did they? What's she doing?
Yeah. I think you kind of interpret it for how it is. I don't know if she meant I'm just gonna give it a break working at unit, or if I'm actually gonna move away from London.
I got the vibe that she was going away for a bit,
right?
But who knows?
To a country house in a country town, in the country
for a Dr. Light episode.
Yeah. For another,
we need the Ruby trilogy.
Yeah,
we do. We need a season 3 just for that.
Maybe we should go to the town she was in 73 Yards.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what I really like as well? Like, so 73 Yards, technically she doesn't remember it, but she does have that weight still, I think, of going through something like that as well. So,
well, did you hear the Albion reference?
No,
Albion's still around, mate. So is this shit gonna come back?
So that's I did see that. So that was referring to the
Albion was the bad guy in 73 Yards, right?
It was the party that
the Albion party. Yeah. So when they're getting all the information on Conrad, they say like, he subscribed to Albion's network or something like that.
Right.
So is he still around?
Party. Right. I see. Okay. Yeah.
Which does make sense because they fucked him off in the alternate timeline, but he's still around in the main timeline. So
sure.
What's going on there?
Ooh.
Spooky. Is this going to be? Oh, is that the Holy Trinity? In the end, it's going to be Miss Flood, Conrad, and Albion.
Well, it's meant to be the trio of bad guys.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, Conrad's definitely got to come back.
Yeah, he is. We'll get to that.
Mr. Hater.
There is a great little funny line from Shirley where she's like,
collecting the mums.
Yeah, you collected mums.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess we then... is that last we get to see of Ruby before we get to Conrad's final scene? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is that shot on the hangar.
Yeah.
with the wind blowing majestically and the sun having a beautiful glow in the morning.
Mm-hmm. So Conrad is alone in his jail cell. Enter the Doctor. Materializes around. He says, "You have to get invited to my TARDIS, fuckwit."
Mm-hmm. The Dutch tilts.
Oh, every shot's a Dutch tilt. And I was like, oh, shit. I turn my head trying to watch this shit.
He shot the TARDIS in such a different way than he did in Revolution, and I'm so here for it.
Well, I think the difference is like it feels intimidating when you walk in and you got these Dutch tilts and the angles he chooses. Like you usually feel comfy when you're in the TARDIS, but like I did not. Like I felt like this is a threat, and not in the way that Conrad is a threat, in the way that the Doctor's a threat.
Yeah, the lighting again really helps.
Definitely,
I keep lighting is my word for this episode.
Word of the week.
Pod.
Yeah, it just like set a tone that was great for the whole episode, the lighting.
Give me more of this angry Doctor.
Oh, dude, his speech is fucking excellent. Yeah. And honestly, probably, is it my favorite? He's great in On Bubble, but is it my favorite Doctor scene from shooting? Maybe. It's a great scene. Great scene.
So he's the one. Okay, I'm a bit confused with timelines here. So Conrad told the Doctor about Belinda because he met Belinda and the Doctor when Conrad was a kid. So does that mean when the Doctor? So how does this work timeline wise? That's how he found out about. So when he met little Conrad, he knew who he was at the start of the episode because he would have already been told about Belinda and knew Conrad. So when he meets Conrad in 2007, New Year's Day, would he have already known? This is getting very convoluted. I apologize.
So when he met young Conrad, he introduced Belinda. So that's when Conrad heard Belinda's name.
Yes.
But he wouldn't have put two and two together as to who Conrad was.
Right.
And then a version of the Doctor from before that then comes and talks to Conrad at the end. So
before that,
before he's met Belinda,
right?
So because there is that reference in Robot Revolution,
that someone told me about you.
Yeah. So if that's him, maybe, or if it's someone else, who knows?
But surely that means that he would have known the name Conrad Clark because he's been told about Belinda already. Because this is after Revolution, so he would have known the kid. When
older Doctor then talks to the kid.
Yeah.
Does the kid refer to himself as Conrad Clark or just Conrad?
Yeah, he says I'm Conrad. Oh, he might just say Conrad.
And then I think you just see him as a young kid and just be like, young kid called Conrad. And anyways, Doctor's busy. The world's disappeared.
I do love the idea of every time the TARDIS lands anywhere, it has an effect on someone. That's a beautiful concept. Yeah. Something as simple as that, a quick little stop can change.
Yeah, just change, create a whole episode out of it,
That is such a cool idea. I love that. It changes the lives of everybody.
Love.
Yeah, and then what? I guess it's just Mrs. Flood.
Yeah, well, again, I just want to stress that last moment with the Doctor. There's this great moment. There's a look on his face that was the same look from Dot and Bubble, when he's trying hard and then realizes he's not getting anywhere with these people. When Conrad laughs after the Doctor's speech, and there's just this thing where his eyes just shift. Shooty acts with his eyes so fucking well.
He didn't cry though.
He didn't cry, no. That's great.
Sick. 2 episodes now.
He doesn't say a word for that little moment. You just see, and he tilts his head up and was like, "Come on, then what are you gonna say, asshole?" Yeah.
I love the
click out.
So good.
Yeah, and then Miss Flood rocks up.
You die alone in a cell at 55.
Oh,
yeah, that is
brutal.
Yeah, very brutal.
Brutal. I love it. Your heart gives out at 49, I think.
Yeah, he's and I can tell you the future. Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
It's very big, and then he's
get off my world. So good. Yeah, Miss Flood rocks up. I'm putting together a team. That kind of energy.
I got the keys, darling. It's a big old TARDIS.
So again, I kind of I've got sick of the Mrs. Flood cameos, but this one really liked because it was I don't know, you got a bit more what's she recruiting him for? And also she specifies that she's been in the TARDIS. We know that she knew what a TARDIS was, but she also kind of, shows that she's been in it before.
Seen a TARDIS before.
Yeah, it's very big, isn't it? So she's been in there.
Yeah.
Good little tease at the end. And she seemed more sinister in this one rather than just the sort of silly Susan Twist cameos.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, and then that was the episode.
One thing.
Yep.
They mentioned Mel being in the Sydney Harbour.
I love that.
So are we War Between the Land and the Sea starting in... Don't worry. It was only after I went on Twitter and someone said, "Is this got a tie into Man in the Sea?"
Yeah. Well,
who knows? Because
I sort of heard it and was like, "Oh, that's Pete just throwing in a little Australia reference." Because he's obviously an Australian.
It could be
writer. Could be, but who knows? Who knows?
It's like referring to like the harbour.
Are the Sea Devils up to something in the Darwin
awesome.
Harbour?
That'd be awesome.
Who knows?
But yeah, I think that's it really.
Yeah. And now it's time for Aiden's whiteboard. So this is the definitive ranking of things that definitely make sense. There is never any problems with this whiteboard, and everyone will always agree with it. So on this whiteboard, we've rejigged it a little bit because I was best of the best. It needs to be elite to be up there. And I was finding some episodes had a place of being some of the best episodes, but weren't quite the best of the best. So we added in a new section on TikTok last week. I called it Semi, but I kind of didn't want to make a reference to penises every time I did this. So we now have best of the best, and we have great, not goat. And in great, not goat is where you have your boom, your lux, and your the well.
Yeah.
Right. Just to separate, because these top two for me of Wild Blue and 73 are so much better than
you needed a little
three.
bit of a change.
Yeah, I did.
For sure.
I did. So this episode, Lucky Day.
I have the feeling I know where it's going.
Well, I sort of like was watching it, and for so much of it, it broke me. It broke my system this episode. Because vibe-wise, this thing fits perfectly in Fun and Flirty. And it's Fun and Flirty, like your Space Babies and your Rogues. They're those episodes that are fun and, they follow good structure. And
flirty.
But they're not like the great ones that, like, I don't know, like you don't watch Rogue and you're like, that's one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever. It's like run-of-the-mill, a really good run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
It doesn't step up to that next level. And this kind of fits into that. But I also just enjoyed watching it so fucking much that it has to go into Great Not Goat, because I just had so much fun. So much fun, and it shifted my mood so much. I think context as well, like in Australia yesterday, it was the election day, the federal election. So, and obviously there's political undertones to this episode, and a lot of why I was in a bad mood yesterday came from some conversations I had with some people about it, and like this episode sort of brought me back to life and was like, oh no, people do have morals in the right place,
Right.
Like Doctor Who is my little family,
Yeah.
We're all, so yeah, I really love this episode.
Well, how fantastic. So obviously there is Robot Revolution in ass, but so far, Great Not Go is Lux, The Well, and Lucky Day.
We've got a great little trio of episodes going on here.
Fantastic. This series so far has been fantastic, and I'm really loving the vibe they're bringing.
Yeah. Hopefully next week. Next week looks hectic. Like just
I'm so
interesting
excited for next week.
Yeah.
I'm really seeing the Disney plan. I feel like it's taken us a while to get there, but it's like if this is what they want to do and this is what they're going for, it actually did feel like a connected universe.
Yeah,
it really did.
I saw a great tweet from Josh that was like, "If this is the last season of Doctor Who, I'm gonna be so mad because it's so good. Like it is so good."
Yeah, that generally will be like a crying shame. Mm-hmm. I really would hate that because it's going so well, and I really don't think it's fallen at deaf ears on Disney. No. I think people are really enjoying it, including myself. Yeah, and I'm very picky with who, as you know.
And so many people right now are 4 for 4. Yeah, which is just amazing, amazing. Anyways, Connor, what will you give Lucky Day out of 10?
I'm gonna give it I was gonna say 8, but I think I did just come here and just talk about how much I love it and a lot more context on things that I've really enjoyed. So I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think it deserves it. I think it deserves it, baby. I loved it.
Damn.
I loved it, baby. I loved it, Jerry.
Yeah, but do you know what? Because I gave Lux and The Well both 8s, and I thought I'd give this an 8 because it's on on the whiteboard. It's on Great Not Goat alongside it.
Yeah.
But like, I just had more fun watching this one than those two. I didn't want it to end.
Neither did I.
8.5. Fist
Fantastic.
bump.
8.5.
Both agreeing with an 8.5, baby.
We match, baby.
Mate, that's awesome. All right, that's our show, guys. We'll be back on Monday to get talk about your opinions of Lucky Day and go through mail time. Any questions that you want to send through, you should definitely do that. And other than that, this has been episode 292 of the podcast. We are coming up to 300 fast, baby.
Oh my goodness me.
Connor, I hope you have a lucky day.
Thank you, you too.
It's Aidan and Connor's podcast. They're doing Doctor Who reviews.
On a Sunday.
Doing Doctor Who reviews.
What's this? I feel pumped.
I cheered. I shouted.
Oh yeah, that was me. That was me. Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, that was me watching when Trinity Wells came on.
I cheered. I shouted. I fist pumped the air. I cried.
This was me.
And cheered.
That's such a niche thing. That's Richard E. Grant's reaction to the Rise of Skywalker. That is such
No, it's not. That's when the meme started, though. I think people took it from something else he'd watched, maybe.
Oh, I thought it was when he was, because he's in Rise of Skywalker.
Or maybe it was. I don't know.
Like, I just got out of the
maybe it was
world premiere.
Maybe it was.
And everyone saw that and was like, damn, maybe this movie's really fucking great. And then you watch it and you're like,
oh, that was
fuck
shit.
What are you talking
That was
about?
ass.
That was ass.
Yeah.